The 11th century. All of Europe is an upheaval. Bold rulers achieve new independence from churches and kings. Increasing numbers of towns that grow ever more influential arise around monasteries and dioceses. Skilled professions and trade flourish, resulting in larger markets and new inventions. Increasing numbers of people learn to read and write, and convents lay the foundation for a long tradition of academic scholarship. But it is also a time of conquest. The Moors press forth across the Iberian Peninsula all the way to the Pyrenees. At the heart of the continent, the Rhine divides the descendants of Charlemagne, who are at odds with each other, and the ancient horseback peoples in the eastern plains give rise to the new Polish, Hungarian, and Kievan Rus empires. The Viking territories now extend all the way to the Volga. Their descendants, the Normans, have conquered territories in France, Brittany, and on the Italian peninsula, and are forcing Rome to accept their conditions. To the east towers Constantinople, proud heir of the Greeks and the Romans, the center of the Orthodox Church, eternal bridge between the Occident and the Orient. For generations, the Byzantines have defied the Bulgarian rebels in the west and the Seljuks in the east from this very city. They have even been able to drive back the Normans, at least so far. The rural population desires the safety that towns and cities are able to offer, but these also need to protect themselves from the greed of foreign rulers and plundering mercenary hordes. It is not enough to simply provide protection and jobs. A ruler can only consolidate his economic and military position if he continues to found additional towns and build new trade routes, and in this manner expands the territory under his dominion. The story I would like to tell you begins in Byzantium. At this time, the empire controls all the territories between the Balkans and the sources of the Euphrates. Budding principalities, most of which are ambitious and unscrupulous. In the Senate of the capital city, Constantinople, their representatives are embroiled in a constant power struggle with the emperor. Intrigues and civil war result in the emperor's throne constantly changing hands for centuries. It is only under Constantine X that the empire finds a certain modicum of peace, in part thanks to his ravishing bride Eudokia, whose wisdom is known far and wide. The hero of our story grew up in Sofia, far away from the imperial court, but his rise to power will be unparalleled. For now, he is as young as he is inexperienced, and much time will pass before I can call him my friend. His name is Leon Baselius. His father made a name for himself on the eastern battlefields, and Leon, full of ambition, strives to follow in his footsteps. The old warrior has just been assigned to the Imperial Guard. Before he departs, he transfers control of Sofia to his son. Leon is to continue leading his hometown, ensuring that it prospers. For this purpose, the father gives his son a book filled with the teachings of a certain wise leader. Thereupon, I encounter this young man for the first time, for I am the author of that book. The delight accompanying Leon's successes is short-lived. An imperial courier bears the appalling news. Murderers, hired by an unknown party, surprised the emperor in his chambers. His personal guard fought bravely, but the poison on the assassin's weapons was too strong. The emperor succumbed to his wounds, and so did Leon's father. A great responsibility now rests on Leon's shoulders. As the new head of the royal house of Baselius, he is of course expected to travel to Constantinople for the burial. His family has been a close friend of the Imperial family for generations. But after the ceremony, the strong-willed Eudokia is to take the throne, and nobody knows what the future holds. It seems as though all of Constantinople has arrived to send the emperor off to his final resting place. Flanked by other representatives of royal houses, Leon is at the front of the funeral procession, which is led by the imperial widow. She holds her head high as she walks through the crowds. It is not only Eudokia's beauty that draws the attention of the greedy nobles. She will soon need to choose a new spouse, to whom she will transfer the emperor's crown. The longer she hesitates, the more likely it is that civil war will break out among the power-hungry suitors. This makes the oath that Eudokia swears at her coronation even harder to stomach. Before the Patriarch of the Orthodox Church, the Empress swears never to wed again. From now on, the well-being of the empire is to be her greatest duty and only concern. While preparations are being made for her visit to Sofia, Eudokia travels across the eastern half of the empire. She wants to get to know the towns, cities, and provinces better, and it is also her intention that her people be able to get a better picture of their new ruler. She is particularly impressed with the flourishing settlements of Barnas, Count of Odessa and brother of the Patriarch. The Empress seizes every opportunity to find out more about the new technologies in use in these settlements. Barnas, in turn, also expresses his interest. It has only been a few decades since the Normans conquered Italy. Their ambition is great, and their troops are feared. They have now reached the shores of Byzantium, where they have built the town of Vlora. It is not the first time the Normans have crossed the sea and mounted an attack, but the new beachhead hints at other, larger goals. West of Thessaloniki, a group of Normans were hunted down and captured. During his interrogation, a prisoner tells an iniquitous tale. His troop was paid off by Barnas, the Count of Odessa, to carry out raids in the area around Thessalonica. Should this prove to be true, it means two things. For one, the Patriarch's brother is involved in a conspiracy that can only be about gaining the Emperor's throne for himself. Secondly, the border with the Normans will need to be secured. The very same day, a messenger is dispatched to warn the Empress. The accusations against Barnas reach Constantinople, creating a stir. But things take an unexpected turn. The cunning conspirator has succeeded in pulling the wool over the Senate's eyes, and Barnas paints himself as the victim of a conspiracy. He claims it is Leon Baselius who is after the throne, and that he is also the one who had Emperor Constantine assassinated. Furthermore, Leon is accused of having a relationship with the Empress. Under the weight of all these accusations, even Eudokia's objections have been rendered useless. Only a few senators stop to consider the reasons for Barnas' vehement accusations, and so it comes to pass. The Senate sentences Leon Baselius to death in absentia. A carriage arrives at the city of Sofia, and Leon wonders what mission an agent of the Empress could have for him. But as Leon prepares to receive him, he is greeted with a surprise. It is Eudokia herself. She has taken the trouble to travel in disguise in order to deliver information that is not suitable for a messenger's ears. Barnas' attacks against Leon do not stem only from his desire to possess the throne. He is also driven by his jealousy of the man whom the Empress favors, and not only as a political ally. This news confuses Leon, as the Empress has always been out of reach. But with each hour that she spends in Leon's presence, it becomes clear that Eudokia has indeed fallen for the young commander. And suddenly, the impossible seems possible. The very next morning, Leon and the Empress know that they were meant for each other, and that they will overcome all obstacles that separate them. The Senate finally repeals Leon's death sentence. Despite the accusations of Barnus, the Baselius family has been redeemed. Moreover, the Patriarch of Constantinople proclaims that from now on, he will be observing the Empress' surroundings more closely. He will make all intrigues against the Empress public without showing any mercy, even those against his brother. The grain reaches the Byzantine border in good condition, and the perilous land journey now begins. Just when the caravan thinks that it has finally reached its destination, everyone's worst fears come true. Seljuk riders ambush the trading party and force the Byzantine traders to appear before their sultan. The gray-haired leader listens to the report from his people with a pensive expression. However, he then asks the traders for forgiveness and gives them their freedom. The Sultan does not wish in any way to hinder the supplies meant for those who are starving, and he expresses his respect for this charitable endeavor. It is only when the trader arrives in Sofia with a gift that Leon realizes. The gift comes from Sultan Rahib, from me, the wise commander from whose books the young ruler has learned so much. With the victory at Aleppo, Leon finally earns the Patriarch's trust. The leader of the church praises the young ruler as a true brother of faith, and the soldiers celebrate the victory over the heathens. The plan that Leon and I devised together seems to have succeeded, and we are one step closer to the Emperor's throne. Eudokia's oath, which once ensured peace within the empire, is now a heavy burden on the two lovers. Even though the Patriarch is very fond of her, he will not release her from her vow. But Barnus' passion for the Empress still burns strong. If she continues raising his hopes, he will definitely be able to convince the Patriarch. Revoking an oath in order to make your own brother emperor, who could refuse? But among the people, tongues are already wagging about the nocturnal visits to Eudokia's chambers. For the moment, nobody yet dares speak Leon's name in public. But Barnus is suspicious. If this plan is to succeed, he must truly believe it impossible for Eudokia to ever be married to Leon, that the Empress has severed all ties with her lover, and that Leon is a miscreant that could never become emperor. After the conversation, Leon sets off secretly to pay me, the Sultan of the Seljuks, a visit. I am astonished at what he proposes. An alliance with him? However, when I realize that it is all about a special woman, I agree in amusement. An alliance will be of benefit to both sides. But the path to an alliance is long, and I insist on walking it carefully. Barnus' single-mindedness has paid off. The Patriarch finally agrees to release Eudokia from her oath. Under his oversight, the solemn ceremony takes place, and before it is even over, Barnus is unable to contain his eagerness. Anxious and bursting with passion, he asks the Empress for her hand in marriage before she has even seated herself on the throne. Eudokia expresses how flattered she is, but turns him down, asking for time to consider his proposal. Purple with rage, the Count of Odessa storms out of the throne room, and the consequences of his disappointment soon make themselves apparent. Barnus declares war on Constantinople. As night falls over the land, the opponent is defeated. Barnus and those loyal to him are humiliated, and the aggressor is forced to surrender. The victorious leader returns to Constantinople and is celebrated by the Senate. With the tacit approval of the Empress, Leon seizes the opportunity and asks publicly for her hand in marriage. The Patriarch himself unites them in holy matrimony, and as the Senate cheers, the throne has never seemed closer. For many, the anointment by the Patriarch is now merely a formality. However, once all is prepared for the coronation ceremony and everything appears perfect, the patriarch speaks in no uncertain terms. He cannot, in good conscience, crown a man emperor when he is in bed with the heathens. He demands a war against the Seljuks. Leon considers his next step carefully. He cannot sacrifice the Sultan's friendship for the throne. After all, it is my teachings which enabled his rise to power. A true ruler decides for himself who his friends and foes are. During these deliberations, a captain from Eudokia's personal guard appears. There has been an attempt on her life, but they had succeeded in thwarting the murderer. He was acting on the orders of Banas. It now becomes clear to Leon who his true enemy is. As the last town crumbles, so too does the Patriarch's resistance. The name of the new emperor of Byzantine is Leon Baselius. For weeks, the people hold celebrations in honor of the imperial couple. At Eudokia's side, Leon has achieved more than he ever dared dream of. The young man has become a respected ruler, as his father once dreamed he would be. Now, he will make his contribution to uniting the surrounding peoples, principalities, and kingdoms. But that's another story.